Welcome one and all to the Week 9 Every Man's Fantasy Football Podcast. It's just me and Blake this week. No guest hosts. We did have Bays on for the league matchups and power rankings though. Those are on our Instagram, so make sure you go give us a like, maybe a comment. But we're going to go ahead and just dive right into the news for the week.
Who needs them?
Start off. Who needs them?
Who needs them?
Here, let me get one of those waters.
What?
I forgot to grab mine.
You can have a half full.
That's fine. Just to start off with, both Bengals wide receivers, Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, banged up right now, dealing with injury.
Jamar didn't practice. T limitedly practiced.
It's a hamstring issue for T. Higgins. It's a back issue for Jamar Chase. So definitely something to monitor.
Way too many back shots.
More news for tonight's game. By the way, we're filming this on Thursday. It'll be out on Friday. We're going to have some predictions at the end of this episode into that Thursday night game, which are going to come out after the game. But, you know, we'll probably predict it. At least I will.
We will edit the video if either one of us is wrong.
Yes, and we'll just re-edit it and put the right answers. But back to the news. Khalil Herbert, not expected to play tonight. If you got Deontay Foreman, I'd have him in those lineups.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm going to go into that Justin Fields
You should
nonsense.
start him over D-Hop in that league, in the guillotine you're asking me about.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. I didn't know.
Something to think about
I'd
for
start
sure.
Foreman. I'm not kidding.
Justin Fields doubtful for tonight. Eberflus was saying some nonsense earlier. I was watching it on the Pat McAfee show. He said he was doubtful. Then he said he was 51% going to play. I mean, just nonsense pretty much out of Eberflus.
Yeah,
Kind of expected.
I don't put him in your lineup. I mean, I wouldn't have him in.
Yeah.
Even if he were to play, I feel like it would be like limited, and yeah, I just wouldn't. I mean, it's the day of, and he's calling him down 51%.
This is yesterday too. Like Eberflus is just full of nonsense.
Yeah, I'm not touching Fields this week. Next week though, with confidence. I mean,
hopefully, yeah. I mean, I saw some clips of him throwing the ball. He looks fine, but who knows? Brian Burns and DJ Chark both out tonight against the Bears. And Brian DeBall announces Tommy DeVito is the QB1 for Week 10. It's pretty sick.
James Conner officially does off IR
Do you
designation.
not have the news right there? That's
No.
why I grabbed you the iPad.
I thought it was for this. No, I don't. I
Here.
just like being close to you.
Oh, okay, fair enough. No homo.
What?
Kyler Murray officially been activated. He is back,
I
baby.
just said that.
Oh, you did?
Baby
Alright.
legs is back.
Baby Legs is back. Martavis Bryant is also back. Wouldn't really go into that. I wouldn't pick him up in any type of fantasy format. And the Rams signed Carson Wentz.
How do you think that's going to affect the Rams?
I
Cup
don't
and
think it's good.
Cup and
Carson
Puka.
Wentz is pretty stinky.
He is stinky. Two
Carson
picks a
Wentz-
game.
yeah,
Two picks a
it's-
game.
That's just multiple turnovers a game.
25 QBR a week.
Exactly. Devon A-Chain has had no setbacks. Looks on track to return in Week 11 after their bye. That's huge. He's technically the greatest running back ever if you look at like yards per carry. Something to monitor. Kyron Williams is expected to return when eligible, which is Week 12. So a couple of weeks away. Get an RB1 back. At least he was the RB. He was an RB1 top 5 running back when he was healthy.
Absolutely, for fantasy purposes, he was.
Oh yeah. And
Although QB change, we'll have to see.
end of season right here. Already knew it, but Cam Akers did tear his left Achilles. Done for the season. He tore his right Achilles in 2021. This seems career ending.
That sucks. I didn't even know that.
Hoping for the best for Cam Akers though.
So Madison's
Oh,
job
no.
is safe.
He's still bad. Madison's gonna get a ton of work. Still be bad. That's just how
It's
it
still
rolls.
bad, but I mean, at least his job's safe.
Yeah, job is safe. That'll do it for the news though, y'all. We're gonna move right in to our Week 9 matchup reviews, starting with the Thursday night game, which was kind of a snooze fest. Not much fantasy, options going on here. This poor guy started George Pickens.
Didn't we talk about that last week because we recorded late?
We did record late, so we did talk about this game. It has been gone over in our last YouTube video. We did go into this game, so we'll be brief about it. Just a reminder: Will Levis.
Talk about George Pickens.
Yeah, Will Levis is the QB for the future. Vrabel did say that he is the QB1 going forward. Steelers, winning record in the playoffs right now. Hopefully that can continue for them. And Derrick Henry, man, I feel like Derrick Henry's kind of back. Having Will Levis is targeting him too, which I love to see. Dump it off to Derrick Henry, get him in the open field.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we did
There's
go
a
over this
freight train
game
coming at you.
in the previous video, so we're just going to move right into the Sunday game, starting in Frankfurt, Germany. This
This game started off really rough for the Dolphins.
So rough. We all got up and watched it, real early for us, 8 in the morning. I mean, it was tough.
It was tough,
but we were here.
Football, we're dedicated.
We're dedicated.
Got up and did it.
We're co-hosts of a podcast. We have to be committed.
I am legally obligated. I signed a contract.
Plus, I mean, Kansas City versus Miami, that's like...
It's a great matchup.
That's horny.
You would think. It came down to the last minute, last play of the game, a aborted snap, fumbled snap.
Tua has looked so abysmal against good teams.
Well, he started coming back in the second half. They led a couple good drives.
I get that. He looked abysmal.
Miami had some good stops on defense. The Chiefs couldn't get anything going on offense in the second half, really. And Jalen Waddle was wide open in the end zone.
Kansas City, for me...
With that aborted snap.
Kansas City, for me, has a bottom 16 skill position unit.
Yep.
Pacheco is not top of the league. He's a good running back. He's a young running back. He can definitely soar up that, but I think he's mid-level in the league. Obviously, there's Kelsey, who's at the top, and then all those receivers are very mediocre. So, I mean, they definitely have a skill position problem, and that showed throughout this game. It showed throughout the year, but one thing they do not have a problem with, which is what they've had a problem with for years, is their defense. This is the best defense Mahomes has had in his career for Kansas City. So, I mean, this is still a Super Bowl caliber team, even though the offense is having its issues. Hopefully Kelsey can get healthy. I feel like he's still, dealing with that injury. That's why he's playing. He's not his usual self as of late.
No, he's definitely not his usual self, but you start him regardless for fantasy.
Big win for Kansas City, though, who sit atop the AFC. Moving into my favorite matchup of the weekend.
Is it your favorite?
Oh, yeah, this is by far my favorite.
Do you have a second favorite?
Yes, it was a Saints matchup.
Do you have a third?
Yes, it was obviously the Bucs collapse. But this matchup, Minnesota versus Atlanta, this was the Josh Dobbs show through and through. He looked really, really bad in that first half, just fumbling the ball through a pick. But god damn it, Josh Dobbs.
Josh Dobbs came in and was a hero.
The fact that
they had to go over their cadence. I mean, before he had to get his O-line together and go over his cadence.
I mean, listening to that, it's like, how are you an NFL team and you're not a little bit more prepared than that?
But it was
he is your second string. This guy, Jaron Hall, has never played in the NFL before. We have no idea what's coming. For some of the stuff I was hearing was almost like, I mean, this is almost too good to be true.
Jaron Hall wasn't playing bad before he got hurt.
Yeah, I mean, he looked athletic. He looked like Josh Dobbs.
But you need to be prepared for anything. An injury.
Exactly.
Which is what happens.
I mean, is this more Josh Dobbs being the comeback player of the year, being an actually good QB in the league, or is this more the Atlanta just collapse? Because Atlanta had so many bonehead plays. Especially near that in the fourth quarter when they decided to just give the ball to Jonnu Smith twice in a row and Tyler Algier when they've got Bijan and Pitts and Atlanta, man. As a Saints fan, I enjoy Arthur Smith. I would like him to keep the job, but as a football person from a charismatic viewpoint, that guy should not have a job.
He should not be coaching.
And the play calling has got to be changed. Atlanta had no business losing that game, and they did.
Choked it to a guy that's been on the opposing team for 3 days.
Exactly. That's the wildest part, honestly.
But props to Dobbs. I mean,
props
for batting that comeback.
I'm a fan.
Played as good of a ball game as you can with as little time as you had.
Madison. All that work. Only 17 points. I mean, just inefficient, but he got the job done.
Fantasy. In the first quarter, he had that huge 40-yard catch. He looked good there. I was like, oh, shit, he's going to have a good week. He ended up, that
was all of it,
17's a solid week. You're not mad about 17
Not mad about it. And, I mean,
especially
with all the
him.
work, Cam Akers is out for the year with all the work.
Maybe you're mad if Christian McCaffrey puts you up 17 points, but Alexander Madison, you're happy with 17.
Yeah. As for, the passing side for Minnesota, I like the look of Addison and Hawkinson moving forward. Dobbs
I think you're angry about Bijan Robinson getting out-carried by Tyler Algier.
Super angry.
Just as much as you're angry about Jonnu Smith getting out-targeted by Van Pitts and all the things that...
Huge win for Minnesota, though, who take down the Falcons and help the Saints get atop the NFC South.
Next game is a blowout.
Yeah, this is an absolute blowout, and it kind of sucked for fantasy. I mean, seeing the Baltimore Ravens, it's the Ravens versus the Seahawks, by the way, guys. 37-3 for the Ravens. I mean, looking at all those points, you'd expect Lamar to have a huge day, Mandrews to have a huge day, maybe some receivers to have a huge day, but that just wasn't. That's not where the points came from. It all came from the running backs. Gus Bus continues to find the end zone.
Yeah, Gus Bus finds the end zone. Zay Flowers with only 1 catch, 1 target. Mark Andrews with 10 targets. Not a lot of yards per catch, but a solid overall performance that you like to see. Lamar efficient, but not for fantasy purposes, like you said. I mean, he had no reason to be passing the ball, really. The running backs were doing everything. I mean,
Yeah.
Lamar did his job, didn't turn it over.
He played a good game as an NFL QB.
Yeah.
As a fantasy QB, Keaton Mitchell, 9 carries, 138 yards. You buying into that? I mean, those are Devon A-Chain numbers right there.
No, because I look down, I see 13 carries from Justice Hill, 5 more from Gus Bus. 9 carries compared to the other two combining for 18. That's still...
This team is powerful. They also they're tied with KC at the top of the AFC. I mean, the Baltimore Ravens are playing great ball right now. On the other side, the Seahawks, nobody had a good game.
Nope.
Absolutely nobody.
Not a soul.
The running back room got just destroyed. Couldn't get anything going. And even the receiver room. DK only with 1 catch. Thank God it was for 50 yards, so it didn't kill you completely. But yeah, really nothing there. Big win for the Ravens, though.
The next few matchups are shitty.
Oh, yeah, these are terrible matchups. Not much to go in here. Cleveland versus Arizona. Absolute blowout.
Mm-hmm.
The Cardinals could do nothing on offense.
Josh Dobbs is gone.
Yeah, Josh Dobbs is gone. They played the Browns, who are arguably the best defense in the NFL. Myles Garrett is playing out of his mind right now. He's probably the front runner for Defensive Player of the Year. There's absolutely no fantasy worth on that Cardinals side. On the Browns side, I mean, it felt good to see Deshaun Watson come out, have a decent game. It is against the Cardinals. I wouldn't buy too much into it.
Amari Cooper did carry the load with 139 of Deshaun's 219 passing yards.
Love to see that.
That's only 80 yards he threw to other receivers.
5 catches for 139 yards. Those are big plays. So
those are all big plays that you do love to see. Explosive, good use. Jerome Ford getting a lot of touches. So is Kareem Hunt. Obviously in a blowout like this game, they're going to get a lot of usage.
Mm-hmm.
Jerome Ford still like the one there, but not a great game out of him, which you would hope for being up.
Yeah.
2 scores all game at least.
Njoku's been playing really good lately. Definitely a
solid.
tight end to monitor. There's a lot of good tight ends. To start the year, the tight end market was dreadful. And now, past the halfway point, it's really, really good. There's a lot of decent players out there. Guys like Njoku, Musgrave, Schultz are sitting on waivers.
I think next year, Kelsey really isn't worth a first-round pick.
No.
I don't think a tight end should go before the third because you can get so many.
The Kelsey tight end era is kind of closing, and it's so sad to see because I love Kelsey, but I mean there are a lot of really young, talented guys.
Mm-hmm.
Most of them come out of Iowa
that are getting used. That's the biggest thing is they're getting actually used in the passing game,
and you love to see that. But a huge win for Cleveland. Moving to another blowout. This was Brett Rippon farts, just terrible player,
horrible, abysmal.
Made the Green Bay Packers look good. This is not a good football team. Their offense is dreadful, but the Rams were so bad with the QB play. Nothing got done on the offensive side. Kupp and Puka. I mean,
both with 7 targets, both under 50
terrible,
yards.
Man, you hate to see that. Matt Stafford really makes these guys great.
Aaron Jones is officially back to save the Packers and make Jordan Love look decent.
Matt LaFleur finally said, he's definitely as healthy as can be. Feels like he's back 100%. Gave him that workload, and he came out and got it done. I love to see those targets, man. That's where he makes his bread and butter.
Oh, yeah.
Good to see A.J. Dillon shelved, too. We all hate that guy. Me more than some. Nothing really out of the wide receiver room for Green Bay. I mean, they did put up 20 points, but it wasn't really done there. Luke Musgrave came down to the score. Obviously, Aaron Jones had his touchdown, and then it was just field goals from there. But, yeah. Big win for Green Bay, who moves to 3-5. Boring.
The next game.
Moving to the most exciting matchup of the weekend. I'm going to let Blake just sit here and be grumpy because, I mean, this was terrible for him. I was a Bucs better this week, so I was a fan. I wanted the Bucs to come out with a win. I thought they got it done too, but C.J. Stroud, the rookie, looks like one of the better QBs in the league. You could almost argue if they had a couple more wins, like with his numbers, he would be in that MVP conversation. But wins matter for that, obviously. 1 pick on the year as a rookie. I think he's got 13 or 14 scores. Just
14.
playing, 14, just playing out of his mind. This was the best game from a rookie QB in the history of the NFL. And I'm sorry it had to come against your team, but I love it. And because of that giant game from him, the receiving room and the tight end room exploded in Houston. Tank Dell, Nico Brown with monster games over 25 points each.
Noah Brown,
sorry. Nico Collins had a decent game. He scored early, and I thought he was going to have a great game.
Tank Dell took over.
CJ Stroud just spreads the ball out, man. Plays so well, man. I love watching the guy play.
In the Bucs defense, man, Baker played pretty solid, not turning the ball over.
He had a decent game.
Almost 300 yards, couple touchdowns. Rashad White finally having like a pretty big boom game.
The Bucs just got outscored. The defense just got beaten.
Yeah, we just gave it up.
The offense did everything they could. Like you said, Rashad White, best game of the season. Cade Otton, a lot of people spot started him, and it came through. He had a great game, 2 scores. The Bucs just got outscored. That's pretty much it. The defense got beaten at the end of the game. Decent game out of Baker, though. He remains in that, streaming QB every week. If you're on a bye, you'd love to plug a guy like that in with your star QB. But CJ Stroud, I think from this point on, should be in everybody's lineups. His receiving room can obviously get it done. We've seen it, and he has got the talent, man. I'd continue playing Stroud if you have him.
That's enough of that.
That's enough of that. Moving into a pretty boring, 2 boring teams. These guys are going to have some of the better draft picks this year. It's the Washington Commanders versus the Patriots. Another L for the Patriots. Their terrible year continues. Mac Jones, this feels like his last year. Watching him play, he's out there playing his heart out. He's just not good enough, man. It reminds me of Zach Wilson in a way.
Yeah, giving him all he's got, and he doesn't have enough to give.
Exactly. Ramondre, another great game. His schedule rest of the season's great. I'd love to have Ramondre.
Ramondre was bailed out by a 65-yard touchdown. You take that away, he's a 10-point week.
But he got that 65-yard touchdown that he outran everybody on.
He did.
You love to see.
He looks good. I still don't like Zeke getting,
8 carries.
Almost 5 targets, 6 carries. It's just too much of a workload for me to love Ramondre.
Fair enough. On the receiving side for Washington, it feels like Jahan Dotson's getting comfortable, getting back to his rookie ways.
Sam Howell's a stud.
Sam Howell is a good QB, man.
He is.
I think he's top half, top 16, even though he may be on the cusp of that. Still top 16 in my opinion. He's got a great wide receiver room. He's got a great play caller too in Bieniemy. I'm feeling Sam Howell right now. Like I said with Baker earlier, you'd love to have a guy like that as a streamable player. If an injury happens to your star QB too, it's a great plug and play. Quick shout out to Hunter Henry. Spot started him, scored me a touchdown, helped me win a week. Moving to my second favorite matchup of the week, it was the Saints versus the Bears. This game pissed me off. Should have blown out the Bears. Our defense, Paulson Adebo really played out of their mind with so many turnovers, and we only won by a touchdown. For the fantasy side of it, you hate to see 11 points out of Kamara. That's a bad week for him. But you do love to see Chris Olave get in the end zone and have a good week.
Finally.
Shaheed and MT were non-existent in this game.
MT, literally.
Yeah, he got 1 target.
Russell didn't even think he was on the field for most of the
game.
I
thought he was hurt.
Yeah.
I thought he was hurt. And then I saw him get targeted, and he immediately, he got... That happened from the cornerback, MT's going like that. Give me a flag. Every time. No one asked for a flag more than Michael Thomas. I love the guy, though. He's so back. He's
so back.
Tell me about the Saints, Blake.
Russell about summed it up, a lot of turnovers, but they did secure the dub in the end. Alvin Kamara with a quiet week, but still getting 5 targets. You love to see that for fantasy purposes. 11 points isn't a lot, but that won't happen often. The game was close all game, and the Saints were fighting just to move the chains and keep possession and stay on top of the score.
The Saints definitely have a red zone problem. They're having a lot of trouble, finishing drives. We also need to cut this kicker. I don't know how Groupie still has a job. Can't stand the guy.
Russell hates him.
Brett Maher is out there. That's what bothers me the most. I love Brett Maher. He won me a championship last year. Love Brett Maher, and he's a free agent. But a good win for the Saints nonetheless.
Yeah, Taysom Hill's a stud.
Oh, yeah, Taysom
Passing
Hill.
and receiving touchdown.
Totally forgot to mention Taysom Hill. Love that guy. Moving to Indianapolis, though, this was a blowout. Indy kind of handled this game after the first quarter.
This was in Carolina, I thought.
Was it in Carolina?
Maybe I'm wrong.
It's probably in Carolina. But regardless, another loss for Carolina. They just keep stacking up, and they don't even have a first-round pick, so it's hilarious. We love to see that as Saints and Bucks fans.
Losers. It's not us.
You want to
It's
see,
not us.
you want to see Chuba get going. He was named the starter. Miles Sanders is still getting involved. You don't like that, but you'd expect more out of Chuba. On the other side, it feels like Jonathan Taylor has gotten his workload back, and he's going to be the man going forward.
I agree.
You can shelf Zach Moss, in my humble opinion.
I agree with that also. I think they're just giving JT a little time to get back in the groove, the last few weeks, and he's gotten back into it.
Mm-hmm. Josh Downs went down with an injury in this game. You don't like to see that. He's having a great, rookie year. Michael Pittman continues to play well, especially in PPR scoring formats. Definitely an automatic start. If you got that guy in your flex, you're feeling good, On the other side, Adam Thielen in second, off game in a row. Definitely feels like he's cooling down on the year.
A little worrisome for sure. Maybe his age is starting to catch up as the weeks progress.
He is very, very old. But the Colts defense for the big story here: 27 points, 4 sacks, 1 forced fumble, 2 touchdowns, 3 picks. I mean, you love to see that. If you put them in, you probably won. Moving to another blowout. There were plenty of these this week. It was the Giants versus the Raiders. This was the Raiders' first game without their former GM and coach, and they looked great.
Way better against a bad Giants team, but they did look way better all around.
They looked like a team. They looked like a team. Josh Jacobs, 2 touchdowns on the ground, 26 carries. You love to see that. Aiden O'Connell didn't really look that great. Didn't turn the ball over, though, which is big. Not much else there. Jacoby got a rushing touchdown. Devontae Adams, another stinker. I mean, they just keep coming. If you have other options, I definitely am leaning towards maybe putting that guy on the bench, man. It's not looking good for him.
Who on the bench, sorry?
Devontae Adams.
Oh, yeah.
That is if you have options. Obviously,
Jacoby Myers looks better than him for fantasy
Jacoby
purposes.
or Devontae Adams, I'm probably starting Jacoby. If I had to make that decision. Which really sucks, man. Devontae Adams, I mean, we know the talent's there. He's like a good QB away from being phenomenal every week.
But he doesn't have one.
Nope, does not have one. Nothing really on the Giants side. I mean, Wandell, decent game, really just saved by a touchdown. And Saquon, he's going to be the whole team. Daniel Jones is out for the season. It's the Tommy DeVito show. Saquon is the whole entire team, and the team is awful. So even Saquon is, that's a scary start.
He's mid. It's hard to trust a running back, on a team that's always losing.
Exactly. They have to pass.
Yeah.
But yeah, good win for Vegas though. Who's not down and out quite yet, 4-5. One of the bigger matchups of the week.
Good matchup here.
Great matchup. It was the Cowboys versus the Eagles in Philly. Cowboys played the better game here. If you watched, they just couldn't pull out a W at the end. The refs were definitely involved here. You feel that in some of these big games, and it definitely felt like it in this game, in my opinion. Would you like to go into the QB play? Because they were both fantastic.
They both were fantastic. CD heavily relied on by Dak all game. CD having 191 of Dak's 374 is nuts. Almost half of his yards went to CD. That's understandable. CD was open all the time. He's a
always
stud,
open.
like he said. Aside from that, Jake Ferguson with a great game.
Jake Ferguson seems to be the second option in the passing game.
Honestly,
for the
he does. Dak looks at him often and in the red zone, and it works. 7 for 10 for 91 yards and a tutty. Great game from him.
Mm-hmm.
Dak played a good game all around. Again, it's just a tough
loss, yeah.
tough loss.
Dak has looked really great lately.
Eagles are a hard team to beat.
Yeah, Jalen Hurts had a couple great touchdown throws. One of them was pretty easy. A.J. Brown just, outran the guy in the flat. But that Devontae Smith ball was beautiful.
I hate Kenneth Gainwell.
Hate him. Taking touches away from Swift. The running backs really couldn't get anything going too much.
I mean, not many, but the fact that, Gainwell only gets 4 touches compared to Swift's 20. He takes the touchdown.
That's where the anger's really coming from.
Yes, I hate
Goddard broke his wrist.
Yeah, that's
out for a
tough
while.
for the Eagles. That's
tough for the Eagles. Definitely feel a boost coming for A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith.
Yeah, Devontae Smith needs that boost more than A.J. Brown does, but that's just tough. We were talking about how the tight end market's pretty deep this year.
Mm-hmm.
That blow is going to hurt your team because even though it's deep, you can't just pick one up off waivers. It's not that deep.
Exactly. But regardless, huge win for Philly, who sit atop the NFL, not only the NFC, with the best record at 8-1. Definitely have a chokehold on the division too. The Cowboys' only hope is to be wild card at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Moving into the Sunday night football matchup.
Another goodie.
A great game. Cincinnati got it done though against the Bills. Josh Allen's, turnovers continue.
Mm-hmm.
They come every game. That is what keeps me from saying he's, top of the league as a QB, because obviously the talent's there. We see it every week. Joe Burrow outplayed him though. Diced it up, 348 yards. He's so bad.
Joe Burrow's gross. The Bengals finally are clicking again, got their shit together. Got T. Higgins pretty involved this week. Jamar did play it through the game, despite being hurt this week. But T's gonna have his weeks where he can be depended on. Joe just diced him up, man.
He really did. He's so back. Did you see they strike the jungle? They had
that was
sections,
awesome.
So it did look.
I don't know why the league doesn't do that more.
I mean, for them, they're Tigers, they're Bengal Tigers.
I know,
so,
but
that works.
There's plenty of.
I don't know how they haven't done it before, honestly.
I don't either. I don't know. Well, there's plenty of teams that could. The Jaguars could easily do it.
Spotted.
Yeah.
Dots everywhere.
That'd be cool.
Great game from Diggs. Always. He was kind of shut down throughout the game, and then out of nowhere, it was really. The announcer was talking about it. I forget who it was, but Dalton Kincaid was always open for the first half of the game. He got a ton of targets. Love to see that for Kincaid, but that was because Diggs was constantly being double covered, tied up by the Bengals. Near the end of the game, they kind of realized that, started covering Kincaid a little bit better, and just that little bit of space. Diggs was in the end zone and got the 2-point on the next play.
Back to back, yeah.
That's great
It's huge
coaching
for
right
his
there.
week. Yeah,
It's great, QB from Josh Allen, just noticing that, which another reason why he's one of those top guys, just not better than Mahomes. But yeah, great game from T. Higgins, though. You'd love to see that.
Not better than Baker? Is that what you said?
I said Mahomes, not Baker.
You think Baker's the best quarterback in the league, and our defense just gave it up this week?
Maybe. But yeah, feels good to see T. Higgins back. Moving into our last matchup, it was the Monday Night Football game. It's all about the Chargers' special teams. They got all the points.
Monday.
The Jets, man. We say it's all about the Jets, and it hurts our soul to see them lose this bad. Zach Wilson, 2 fumbles. Come on, Zach. Zach, we need you to be better, man. We want you guys to succeed. We want the Jets to succeed. But playing like that,
even his coach knows he's not that guy.
Eckler.
Herbert had to do nothing.
Yeah.
Eckler carrying the workload along with the Chargers defense this week.
Really,
defensive game.
The offense on both sides couldn't get it done. Eckler lucked out with the scores because they were put in prime position from turnovers and everything.
Absolutely.
You look at his numbers; he was inefficient, under 4 yards a carry. Didn't come down with most of his targets. But yeah, they were able to just be better slightly on offense, and the special teams made great plays, and they were able to come out with a win. So kudos to the Chargers. Now at 4-4 after starting the season pretty bad. Jets with the same record, man. We got to be better, Zach Wilson. We got to be better. Get the ball to Brees more. That's what I say. But yeah, that'll do it for our Week 9 matchups. Like we did last week, we're going to finish with our picks for this week. Go ahead and close this to finish out the show, Blake. Would you like to go over what happened with your mind last week? Your brain turned off when you decided to make these game picks?
I was wrong. I was horribly wrong.
Just to let y'all know, currently our records with our game picks, Blake had an awful Sunday, Very, very bad. I'm sorry.
Except I won in fantasy.
He did win in fantasy.
In all my leagues.
Just had to play Bays.
All 5.
You know, worst team ever.
Actually 4, because I won in Dynasty, but I wanted
Blake
to lose.
is sitting at 1-6 with the game picks. Hopefully he can turn that around this week.
I will.
I'm sitting at 4-2 after a really great weekend.
I must.
So we're going to start out with Thursday night tonight. This video will come out on Friday, so you're going to see this late, so our genius won't matter. But the line for the Bears versus Panthers game in Chicago currently sits at Chicago -3.5, and the over-under is 38.5. Blake, what are we thinking?
I'm taking Bears to win and cover that line for sure. I also think the under will hit.
Under. Okay. Bears to win. I will also take the Bears spread. I think the over hits, though, because both of these teams' defenses get shredded where they're bad. So I think we might see some sneaky good offense tonight. I'd also like to pick against you, But moving to the Frankfurt game, Colts versus Raiders, a lot worse than last week's Miami versus Kansas City. Colts sitting at -2. The over-under is 43.5.
Colts, Patriots, not Raiders.
Oh, sorry. Colts versus Pats. Sorry. Colts -2. Over-under is 43.5.
Are you asking me first again?
Yes, I always ask you first.
All right. I take the Colts to win this game for sure. I also think they cover. And I don't know how I feel about the over-under. I don't really want to talk about it. But I think the Colts win and cover.
Okay. I am going to pick the under in this game. I feel the under. I love Bill Belichick. The guy's the GOAT. I don't know if you saw that video of Bill Belichick looking shredded.
No.
Fresh off of having some sex.
Yeah?
Definitely look it up.
Good
it's
for
hilarious.
him. Good for him.
But yeah, I'm going to take the under. Bill Belichick loves a good sloppy defensive game. They're in Frankfurt. Everyone's going to be tired. Gardner
Bill Belichick loves a good sloppy.
He loves some good slop. So I'm going to take the under in this game. I'm not going to touch that line. Even though I think the Patriots are bad, the Colts are kind of bad too. But yeah, I'll take the under. Moving to the Sunday night football game. I mean, all of these are bad games. Don't you hate? All of these are bad games.
All of our primetime games are the ones you don't want to watch.
Jets versus Raiders. The Jets at -1. Over under is 36.5. Blake, what are we thinking?
Jets cover over, baby. All about the Jets. It's all about the Jets. I think they get things clicking a little bit better than they did against the good Chargers D this last week.
You said the over?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm going to take the Raiders. I think Zach Wilson's playing terrible football right now. He turns the ball over too much. I like this new look Raiders team. They definitely are playing more together. I know it's in MetLife. I'm also going to take the under, 36.5. So Raiders and the under.
This is why he lets me go first. He just wants to say the opposite.
No, I agree with you on the Bears.
And that makes things spicy, and I like it.
I agree with you on the Bears. But yeah, I'm going to take the Raiders. I'm also going to take the under. Moving into Monday Night Football, it's the Bills versus the Broncos. Buffalo -7. The over-under is 46.5. I'll go first. I like the Bills.
Mm-hmm. We
Guess
all
what
like
else?
the Bills.
I like the under.
What?
I like the under.
What?
I like the under.
That's weird.
Because Josh Allen's going to throw a pick. He's going to have a fumble. They're going to be incapable of scoring a ton. And the Broncos just aren't going to score really at all. So I'm going to take the under 46.5 points. And the Bills -7. I just don't see Russell Wilson getting it done. Really don't. It's in Buffalo. I don't see it.
I'm going to agree with Russell all the way through, except I think the over is going to hit. At 46.5, I think Josh Allen and the Bills light up this shitty Broncos team. And in garbage time, allow the Broncos to kind of pretend to come back, but they don't.
I guess that'll do it for the show, y'all. Those game picks are going to be spicy because we pick mostly against each other.
Also, I have the Bucks to beat the Titans this week. Let's go, baby. Our division's coming back. The Vikings are going to beat the Saints. I got all kinds of crazy predictions.
Yeah. I really hope we don't lose to Josh Dobbs because I bullied Bays really bad. But we'll see you guys next week for the Week 10 video.